Unlock divine peace. Pray now when stress haunts you. In the heart of a sleepless night, the moon hung like a ghostly lantern, casting long shadows that danced eerily against the cracked walls of old St. Jonathan's Church. The air was thick with the scent of burning candles and a hint of something metallic, an unsettling reminder of stories whispered among the townsfolk. They believed the church had a secret one that could turn the most troubled hearts to serenity. But only if you dared to reach out. Underneath the flickering light, Amelia sat alone in a pew, knees drawn up to her chest, a trembling ball of stress and fear. The old wooden benches creaked softly, almost as if in sympathy, as she thought about her chaotic life. Bills piled higher than the mountains outside, her job was slipping through her fingers like sand. But tonight, she needed something more. Something beyond the physical world. Here, in this sacred space, anyone could feel the heavy weight of centuries pressing down. Perhaps it was the wailing of lost souls that echoed in the silence, or the shivering breeze that swept through the stained glass windows, whispering secrets of the forgotten. Amelia tightened her grip on the frayed rosary swinging from her hand, urging her heart to calm, but instead, it raced, beating against her ribcage like a caged bird. She wished for a sign, a spark of hope to ease the darkness clawing at her sanity. As if in answer, the air crackled. A sudden gust extinguished the flames of the candles, enveloping the space in a chilling silence that pushed her to the edge of terror. Shadows circled around, and she could almost hear faint voices calling out, lost within the walls. Was it just her imagination, or was something watching her from the corners of the church? The feeling of dread wrapped around her throat like a coiled snake. Had she come to unlock a divine peace, or had she awoken something far more sinister? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Her heart thundered louder than the whispers swirling through the church. It was then that a flicker of light appeared, dancing before her like a wisp of hope. But was it divinity, or just a trick of the night? Amelia faced the altar, a crescent of desperation etched on her face. Should she chance it? Could prayer really invoke a peace that drowned out stress and despair? The moment stretched, taut with tension, and she found herself at a crossroads. With trembling hands, she raised her voice, steady and clear. If you're there, hear me. Please. But before she could finish, the ground beneath her began to hum, sending chills racing down her spine. The sensation was right at her fingertips, alive and electric. A question lingered: what would she find when she unlocked this door? The humming grew louder, vibrating through the pews like a pulse of ancient power. Amelia squeezed her eyes shut, praying for a moment of clarity, an assurance that she hadn't wandered into something her heart couldn't bear. Please, she whispered again, her voice breaking in the silence. The air felt thick and charged, almost alive, wrapping around her like a protective cocoon. In that darkness, pushing through her fear, she felt something shift. The shadows, once threatening, now danced like playful spirits, drawing her gaze toward the altar. The flickering light intensified, morphing into a warm glow that illuminated the figures in the stained glass. They came to life, their colors swirling as if the ancient tales woven in the church's fabric whispered secrets to her. But they spoke to her not with words, but with emotions that pulsed through her body, a fierce longing, a haunting sorrow, and finally, hope. With a sudden rush of invigoration, Amelia leapt to her feet. She had come seeking peace, but it dawned on her that it wasn't peace she truly needed. It was courage. Courage to face the chaos of her life, to confront the things that pushed her into this desolate church in the first place. Show me the truth. She cried out, her voice echoing through the hallowed walls. And then, silence. The world seemed to hold its breath as the light dimmed. A chill swept through, sending goosebumps cascading down her arms. Were her pleas heard? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the far side of the church, causing her to jump. The sound was violent, shattering the sacred tranquility. Heart racing, she turned to see a heavy door opening as if on command. The air shifted, stale and foreboding, spilling forth a scent sour, metallic. Amelia squinted into the darkness beyond the doorframe, where shadows hovered, writhing like specters. "Who's there?" she called, though the words trembled uncertainly on her lips. A figure stepped into the dim light, a man, though his features were obscured. He gazed at her with eyes that burned like coals, fierce and knowing. "Why are you here, child? Are you willing to confront your pain?" His voice rolled like thunder, wrapping around her heart as fear gripped her tighter. This was no ordinary encounter, it was a reckoning. She opened her mouth but found no words, only the overwhelming weight of the unknown pressing down upon her, but something compelled her. Maybe it was the promise of peace. Maybe it was the truth she craved. She took a step closer, defiance igniting within her. "Yes. I need to see it all, everything." The figure smiled, and in that moment, the shadows shifted, revealing a path leading deeper into the church. It glimmered slightly, as if inviting her on a journey she never anticipated. Just then, the voices from before crescendoed, a chorus of haunting whispers filled with sorrow and rage. "Unlock what lies beneath, reveal the truth, face the darkness." Amelia hesitated, casting a glance at the door behind her. Could she really walk down this path? But she knew, deep down, that she had already made the choice. With a deep breath to steady herself, she stepped forward, her heart racing with fear and anticipation. As the figure gestured for her to follow, uncertainty twisted in her gut. What awaited her in the shadows? Now she was committed, skirting the edge of a cliff, divine peace or monstrous doom. What lay behind that door was daunting, and yet, thrilling. And as she disappeared into the dark, one thing was certain, the next step might just change everything for better or for worse. The shadows closed around Amelia like a dark shroud, thick and impenetrable. She could feel the weight of expectation pressing against her skin, urging her to move forward into the unknown. Each step she took sent tremors of unease racing through her. What kind of truth was buried in this darkness? Was she truly ready to unearth it? The figure led her deeper, the flickering light behind them fading until it was just a memory. Here, the air hummed with a different energy, almost electric. She could feel every nerve in her body tingling with anxiety and anticipation. The whispers curled around her, wrapping her in a chilling embrace. "Face the darkness, confront your pain. Stop it," she shouted, spasming against the cold tendrils of fear that wrapped around her throat. Her heart was pounding, thumping like a drum in her ears, drowning out the whispers. "I can do this." The figure paused in front of an ornate archway that seemed to pulse with life. He turned back, and for the first time, she caught a glimpse of his face, haunted and hollow, etched with lines of suffering that mirrored her own. "Are you prepared to meet your demons?" he asked, his voice softer now, resonating with an eerie reverence. She swallowed hard, the lump in her throat making it difficult to answer. What did that even mean? Would her fears take shape in front of her, or would she simply relive the agony that pushed her to this place? Inwardly, she wrestled with her hesitation, but the moment stretched, filling her chest with a growing sense of urgency. "Yes," she finally said, her voice trembling yet resolute. "I'm ready. I need to confront whatever I've been running from." She took a deep breath, stepping forward. As she crossed the threshold, a surge of cold air whipped around her, snapping at her skin like 1,000 tiny needles. The world faded to black, replaced by a series of blurred images, flashes of memories she had long buried. An image of her childhood home surged into focus, its sharp edges shimmering in the darkness. She watched with horror as the chaotic scene unfolded. The yelling, the slammed doors, the shattered plates, the echoes of her parents' fighting grew louder, each cry a dagger piercing her heart. No! Amelia gasped, clutching her head. She had spent years trying to forget that night, convinced she had buried it, but it was here, raw and exposed, clawing its way back to the surface. Face it, Amelia. The figure urged. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. Suddenly, the scene shifted, the air thick with tension as the voices melded into a cacophony of hatred and despair. Amelia was trapped, a spectator in her own pain. The room around her morphed, revealing a reflection of herself, a terrified girl peering out from the shadows, eyes wide with confusion and regret. Stop it! Amelia cried again, this time with furious conviction. I won't let you control me anymore. With each word, the voices twisted and contorted, crescendoing into a frenzied roil of sound that filled her ears. The darkness pulsed with menace, clawing at her sanity. But then, a flicker of light broke through the chaos, illuminating her shadowed self. Look! The figure urged. You have the power to rewrite your story. Amelia steadied herself, pulling from a well of strength she didn't know she possessed. This was hers to control. She stepped toward her younger self, extending her hand, shaking with the storm of emotion. Listen to me, she whispered, tears spilling over. You are loved. You will be okay. But before she could bridge the distance, the shadows lunged, swallowing her words. Amelia! The figure shouted, a hint of desperation in his voice. Don't let them consume you. The darkness recoiled as she faltered, and for a heartbeat, all fell silent. Amelia's breath caught, that fleeting moment of clarity sparking a fire in her chest. What if there were more lurking in the shadows? What other truths awaited discovery? Just as the doubt crept back in, a scream echoed from the abyss, chilling her to the bone. Someone, or something, was becoming restless, and it was coming for her. The battle within her raged on, and as the pressure mounted, Amelia realized, she had unlocked a door, but what lay beyond it was far more dangerous than she ever anticipated. What awaited her next? The question loomed, heavy and ominous, as she braced for the storm. The darkness rippled like water, breaths shallow and frantic as Amelia stood rooted in place. Her heart raced, each pound a beacon calling forth the shadows. Beneath her skin, fear coiled tighter. The scream echoed again, this time more desperate, and the chill of terror crawled up her spine. Stay strong, Amelia. The figure urged, his voice becoming distant as dread settled around her like a thick fog. This is your moment. But the reality of it all felt unreal, an out-of-body experience where she was both player and spectator. The air grew dense, like a heavy blanket stifling her thoughts. Whispers swirled, merging into a chorus of regrets, past failures, and the hurt she had tried so hard to bury. Stop! She screamed, but her voice felt like a paper boat lost in a storm. Mistakes lie here, remember? Another roar of laughter erupted from the shadows, deep and mocking, slashing through her composure. You thought you could forget? A vivid memory surged forward. She could see herself, a teenager staring at the ground as her best friend walked away, that final, shattering betrayal. The weight of rejection fell over her, suffocating and real. It hurt. Why now? Amelia gasped, struggling to pull herself from the grip of the memory. Why do you torment me? We're part of you. A dark figure materialized from the abyss, a twisted version of her adolescent self, eyes wild with bitterness. And until you face us, you're nothing. You will never be free. No! Amelia shouted, shaking her head violently. I am more than this. The dark figure grinned, an echo of her insecurities reflected back at her. Think you can erase this? Look at what you've lost. The cacophony intensified. Voices rose, overlapping chaos bombarding her senses. Each word was a weight, dragging her into despair, but deep within, a flicker ignited the image of the little girl. Her innocence blazed in Amelia's mind. "I remember you," she whispered to herself. As she focused, the shadows waned, retreating slightly. "You matter," she reminded her younger self. "I will not abandon you again." The figure shifted, no longer menacing but pleading. "Will you face me?" Amelia felt that flicker grow. "Yes," she cried, "I have the power to confront you." The dark version of herself faltered, a flicker of doubt crossing its features. Amelia stepped toward it, her pulse racing. "You are a part of me, one I now understand. I can love you despite the pain." A swirl of light flashed, illuminating the darkness as fragments of color burst into the void. Memories shifted like shadows, memories she feared turned into a canvas of acceptance, her childhood joy, laughter shared with friends, warmth from family moments. Every step toward embracing them chipped away at her fears. "Open the door, Amelia." The figure's desperation laced his tone. "Embrace all of it." But just as she felt herself gaining ground, a thunderous crash rattled the air. The walls of the archway shook, and a chilling presence surged forth, more monstrous than before. It leered with sharp teeth, an amalgamation of her fears, striking from her past abandonment, loss, shame, all converging. "Flee!" It howled, a guttural roar echoing through the darkness. "You're not strong enough." Amelia's blood ran cold, but the distant memory of her younger self, fragile yet determined, held her ground. "I will not be consumed." Her heart raced as she sensed the uncertainty eroding beneath. The darkness reared its head, but the storm was far from over. The shadows swirled violently, the cacophony escalating into a fever pitch, like thunderclaps announcing the tempest. Just as doubt threatened to pull her back, she felt a surge of courage, a desperate hope pulling her through the haze. Suddenly, a flicker of understanding sparked. What if she could not just face this but also transform it? The air crackled with potential, and with her next breath, Amelia knew she had a choice to make. The instability of the shadows screamed for control, and as the clash intensified around her, the answer became both clear and terrifying. Could she find the strength to tame the demons within? And if she did, what might they reveal? The storm loomed, a tempest ready to unleash. Amelia realized a fierce battle lay ahead. She stood ready, but the question remained, would she survive the storm unleashed by her past? The ground trembled beneath her, shaking Amelia from the center of her turmoil. The monstrous form loomed larger, shadows twisting in impossible ways, closing in around her. She could feel its breath, cold and rancid, chilling her to the bone. For an instant, everything went silent, and all she could hear was the frantic beating of her heart, thumping in her chest like a drum warning of impending doom. "Face it, Amelia." The figure from before, that voice urging her forward, lost among the chaos. "You have to own your past." The dark creature let out a maniacal laugh, echoing in her mind, and she flinched, the sound reverberating like nails on a chalkboard. Each terrible memory that it embodied crashed against her sanity, unveiling more fears, more regrets than she could fathom. In that moment, she saw not just her childhood but also the lost opportunities, the broken relationships, and the battles she never fought. "Shut up!" Amelia screamed, taking a small step backward. But within, a roar of defiance rumbled. The dark figure was right. She had to confront this. "Look at what you've become." It taunted, its voice a mix of her insecurities wrapped in mocking laughter. "A coward. You're nothing without your pain." "No." The word burst from her lips like a bullet, raw with fury. "I am more than this pain. I am strength. I am past the mistakes." With every word, she planted her feet firmly against the ground, a grounding emotion awakening deep within. The little girl she had once been, the one who believed in possibilities, and the strong woman she sought to become were merging. A bright glow emanated from the center of her chest, a warmth spilling into the void that swallowed more doubt than she thought possible. "Show it to me," she bellowed, voice resilient, resonating with newfound power. I won't run anymore. I'll feel every scar, every shadow, and I will turn them into strength. The monstrous figure recoiled, jagged teeth snapping in rage. The cacophony of chaos began to shift into something different, a resonance of conflict brewing between fear and strength. Amelia pressed on, feeling the air crackling around her as shards of light weaved through the darkness, illuminating her fight. Memories danced in the light: her mother's embrace, the laughter of friends, and that smile of support from people who believed in her. Each shard brought with it a whisper of hope, catalyzing her transformation. The dark figure began to dissolve, its form no longer a rigid threat but an amalgamation of her fears dispersing into glittering dust. Yet, shadows still clawed at the corners of her vision, remnants of isolation and despair. "Focus, Amelia." The voice urged again, now stronger than ever as it cut through the remaining darkness. "This isn't just a fight. It's a choice." And it resonated within her. The choice to recognize her pain, to accept it, and to let it guide her rather than imprison her. She breathed deeply, embracing both the light and the darkness within. "I choose to heal," she shouted, the ground vibrating with the weight of her declaration. Lights burst forth, illuminating the archway surrounding her, scattering darkness in shimmering fragments. But even as the dark shape began to vanish, a shadow of doubt sneered behind its fangs. "Do you really think this is over?" A haunting echo swirled through the remnants of the storm. The finality of its words chilled her spine. "You've only scratched the surface." Isolated, surrounded by a kaleidoscope of writhing memories, Amelia steeled herself against the palpable threat looming in the shadows. What lay ahead? As the echoes faded, she felt a shift in her surroundings, a presence unlike any other, more powerful than the storm she'd just tamed. What dark secrets were still wrapped in the embrace of her past? And would she conquer or be consumed? The answers waited just beyond the archway, drawing her closer like a moth to a flame. The archway pulsed with an otherworldly glow, inviting yet menacing. Amelia stepped forward, her breath caught in her throat as she crossed the threshold. The air shifted, warmer and heavier, thickening with tension as if the world itself was holding its breath. In front of her lay a vast expanse, a surreal landscape where twilight fused with dawn. Twisting trees arched overhead, their gnarled branches whispering secrets to each other. The ground shimmered with an ethereal light, each step revealing fragments of her memories scattered like fallen leaves. She hesitated, glancing back at the archway, unsure of what lay ahead, but the moment she turned, the shadows from the recent battle rushed in from behind, weaving around her ankles like chains. "You can't escape," they hissed, voices layered with whispers of her past failures. "You wanted to face us, remember? I'm not afraid of you," Amelia shouted, voice strong but with a tremor that betrayed her. She pressed onward, but the shadows lunged at her, wrapping around her limbs, pulling her down. Panic surged within her, a tightness in her chest, drowning out her determination. Then she remembered the light, the warmth that sparked within her when she chose to heal. "I am not defined by you," she roared, focusing on that glowing essence deep inside. It flickered in response, gathering strength until it enveloped her like a shield. The darkness hesitated, the grip weakening as she thrust her hands outward. "Let go of me," she commanded, and the shadows recoiled as if burned by the light. They dispersed momentarily, leaving her breathless but undeterred. This was just the beginning. The landscape transformed as she pressed forward, visions of her past emerging around her, ghostly figures of friends she lost touch with, the face of a mother filled with sorrow, and her younger self, frightened and alone. Each image tugged at her heart. "These are just parts of me," Amelia whispered softly, "not the whole. Embrace us. Remember us." The figures echoed, their voices a haunting melody of regret and longing. Amelia closed her eyes for a moment, gathering her thoughts. She opened them wide, and this time, she called upon the love she still held for those memories, the lessons learned, the laughter shared. "I embrace you," she said firmly, her own voice crackling with power. "You are my strength. As if responding to her declaration, the memories began to shimmer, transforming into beautiful orbs of light that floated toward her, integrating into her core. She felt their warmth flood through her veins, a rush of confidence igniting her spirit, but before she could revel in the moment, the ground quaked violently, fissures forming beneath her feet. The air crackled with energy as something monstrous began to rise in the distance, a dark silhouette taking shape from the gathered shadows. "Did you think you could heal without payment?" A voice boomed, deep and ominous. "You must confront the core of your fears, the depths of your soul." Amelia's heart raced as she gazed at the growing mass, the embodiment of everything she had fought to bury. This wasn't the end, it was the true beginning. Could she face this terrifying creature? The echoes of her past whispered in her ears, urging her to flee, but she stood tall, digging her heels into the ground. "I will face it," she declared defiantly. "I will not back down." Yet, as the towering figure lunged toward her, an icy chill swept through the air. The shadows danced and swirled, merging into a form that was eerily familiar, a reflection of her own vulnerabilities and loss. How could she battle something that represented her deepest fears? The answer was tantalizingly close, but could she discover it before those fears consumed her whole? The figure loomed closer, an ominous presence swathed in shadows that breathed despair. Amelia's heart thundered in her chest, every beat screaming for her to run, to hide. But the ground beneath her felt solid, and through the chaos, a flicker of that powerful warmth ignited within her. She could feel the memories coursing through her veins, a reminder of who she truly was. "You are nothing but a construct of my fears," Amelia yelled, forcing the words out, her voice shaking but resolute. The shadow paused, an unsettling stillness blanketing the landscape. It leaned forward, a grotesque mimicry of her own face, an echo of every mistake, every wrong choice. "Am I?" It hissed, the sound a dreadful whisper that forked through the air. "You think you can erase me? I am your darkness. Your regret. Your failure." "No," Amelia countered fiercely, grounding herself in the swirling light that surrounded her. "You are a part of my journey, yes, but not the end of it. You give me strength to rise above." The dark figure hesitated, its form flickering as if the light was beginning to erode its grasp. Amelia took a step forward, heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. "You feed on my doubt, but I choose to believe in my strength. I will not let you take control." A surge of warmth radiated from her core, gathering momentum as she pushed against the rising tension. The memories she had absorbed now glimmered vibrantly, illuminating the shadows around her. Flickers of laughter and joy cut through the darkness, reminding her of the love that had once shielded her from despair. With every ounce of willpower, she raised her arms and summoned the light within. "You are not my master. I am whole, and I will face every part of me including you." The darkness writhed, sensing the shift in power. It lashed out, striking at her, but the bright energy surrounding Amelia acted as a wall, protecting her. "You have no power here. I embrace my past, and I will fight through you." The shadow screeched, its form breaking apart into a swirl of darkness, desperately trying to reclaim its hold. But with each pulse of light, Amelia felt an answer burrowing deeper within her, a truth she couldn't quite yet articulate, but it swirled around her like a beacon. "Show me what you are," she cried out, focusing her mind on that incorporeal certainty. The creature hesitated and then lunged at her. Time slowed as panic threatened to swallow her whole, but Amelia steadied herself, standing firm against the oncoming terror. The clash was deafening, a cacophony of silence followed by a burst of blinding light. And then, from the depths of shadows, a glimmer of color emerged, a vibrant hue of golden warmth expressing her resilience, mixing with her fears and sorrows. "What is this?" The shadow bellowed, the alarm in its voice ringing clear. "You cannot possibly." "I can," Amelia screamed back. "I can live, I can thrive even in the face of my fears." The darkness shrieked, struggling against the light that threatened to expose and dissolve it. Amelia felt her strength multiplying, her memories forming a wall of protection. She just needed to unlock that truth, that final piece of herself that could banish the last remnants of the shadow. But when the shimmering light reached its zenith, illuminating the landscape, a deep crack split the ground, spiraling out toward her. An abyss opened up beneath her feet, and the roar of the shadow echoed, almost pleading. Do not let the light blind you. All must be sacrificed. Give in. Amelia could feel the shadow pulling at her, clawing at her spirit. What truth could she discover in this moment of chaos? Could she truly reconcile with all she had felt? The choice loomed dark and heavy before her. Would she risk it all to uncover the ultimate truth? The abyss gaped beneath her, a chasm that threatened to swallow everything Amelia had fought for. The light still hummed around her, a vibrant testament to her will, but the shadows were creeping, clawing at her resolve. Don't listen to its lies. A soft voice whispered just above the roar of doubt. It was a flicker of memory, a face from her past, a childhood friend with gentle eyes and a laugh that could chase shadows away. You are more than this darkness. Amelia's breath hitched as she clung to that memory, and the familiar warmth surged anew. She took a step back from the edge, the pulsing glow within her intensifying in response. I am not afraid of you, she said, her voice rising above the chaos, trembling but fierce. I know who I am. The shadow recoiled, its visceral forms writhing with fury. You think you can deny me? You need me, Amelia. Without me, you are nothing. Wrong. She shouted, shaking her head. You think I need your darkness to define me? Every mistake, every regret, they shaped me, yes, but they do not bind me. The ground shook in furious response, pieces of earth crumbling and falling into the abyss. But even amidst the tremor, Amelia felt a pulse of strength. The laughter, the love, every glimmer of light within her was a star bursting through the night. Show me your face, then, she demanded, her voice steady, unwavering. If you want to define me, then let me see what I really am. What do you truly represent? The shadow hesitated, its fragmented essence swirling in indecisive agitation. You're asking for a truth too painful to bear, it muttered, the weight of its words echoing in the air. I want the truth, she insisted, her heart racing. All of it, even the pain. I'll face it, not as a victim, I'll stand as a whole. A moment of stillness hung heavy in the air. The shadow, suddenly insistent, charged forward, transforming into a whirlwind of darkness and despair. Amelia stumbled back. The wind howled around her, filled with echoes of her fears, her failures, everything she had let linger in the darkness. Let me show you what you truly are. It roared, its voice resonating with long-buried memories, lifetimes of regrets sweeping through her like a gale force. With nerves strung tight, Amelia fought against it. She reached deep inside herself, seeking that glowing core of confidence. I still have a choice. She cried, focusing on the light pulsing within her. I choose who I am. With that declaration, the warmth exploded around her, a wild chorus of glowing colors bursting forth in a radiant embrace. The shadows were no match for her fierce determination. Fragmented memories flickered around, swirling in a vivid dance of despair and hope. Each laugh, each tear charged the air, pushing back the darkness that sought to engulf her. Gradually, the light expanded, merging with the depths of her melancholy. This is who I am, she breathed, grounding herself in the climax of emotion. A tapestry of every moment, woven from love and loss. The shadow shrieked, contorting under the might of her acceptance. No. This isn't how it's supposed to end. But as the brilliance engulfed the dark figure, Amelia was struck with the gravity of her choice. What if her reckoning with the core of her being wasn't just a battle with shadows but a rebirth? A merging of light and dark. As the very essence of the shadow flickered and dimmed, an image flickered in her mind, a dirt path branching in multiple ways. Each path whispered experiences yet to unfurl, choices yet to be made. Could I truly create my own road? She whispered, uncertainty creeping back in. And as the golden light pulsated, she realized that the choice was yet unfolding. But what if Amelia trembled, the edge of realization lingering close? What if letting go is the truest form of embracing myself? A new darkness loomed then, a question burrowing deep within her mind, a truth shaking her to the core. Could stepping into her power mean releasing what held her back? The pull of the abyss grew stronger, wrestling with her light. As the two forces grappled for control, Amelia faced the deeper mystery of her heart, and the choice before her could define everything that came next. The ground beneath Amelia trembled, as if it sensed the weight of her internal battle. The radiant warmth enveloping her flickered, struggling against the fierce pull of the abyss. Doubt clawed at her heart, whispering that perhaps surrendering meant embracing the darkness she had fought so hard against. "Choose wisely, Amelia," the shadow hissed, its voice echoing through the storm of emotions. "Without the past, what are you? Just another empty shell." She clenched her fists, focusing on the glow around her. The light felt like a shield, yet the shadows pressed closer, their cold tendrils reaching for her mind. "My past doesn't define me," she shouted, trembling with fierce conviction. "It's just a part of my story." The chasm roared in response, as if insulted by her defiance. "A story? You think a pretty tale of triumph can erase the stains of your failures? They haunt you, Amelia. They will always haunt you." Light surged with each heartbeat. Memories cascaded through her mind, happy days with her childhood friend, bittersweet moments of laughter, and sorrowful lessons learned through loss. They were all pieces of her. "I won't run from them. I embrace them." Her voice was confident, cutting through the chaos. As if challenged, the shadow morphed, conforming into shapes that represented her past regrets, the moment she let someone down, the friendships she allowed to fade, the opportunities she missed. Each manifestation felt like frozen splinters in her heart, forcing her to confront the pain she long tried to bury. She gasped, feeling the weight of those burdens anew. "I hate that I failed," she murmured, her breath catching in her throat. "But I love that I learned." The ground convulsed violently, attempting to knock her off balance. Yet, in the face of turmoil, Amelia found strength in that realization. Striking a defiant stance, she raised her chin and insisted, "I'm not afraid of my shadows. They are part of me, not my prison." The shadows recoiled, disoriented by her resolute brilliance. For the first time, they pulsed with uncertainty. "How can you confront your darkness? It's too much. You will break." And yet, an unexpected sense of calm washed over her. "I didn't break, I grew. I will always grow." The statement resonated inside her, filling her with an empowering resolve. Suddenly, she felt a shift. The abyss no longer seemed like an all-consuming pit, but rather an empty canvas. A canvas for my story, she realized, shockwaves of possibility coursing through her. This could be my beginning again. The foundation shook, the light becoming a torrent that pushed against the dark. Amelia stepped forward, leaving behind the suffocating grip of the shadows swirling around her feet. "You won't define my existence any longer." As her confidence swelled, a new path unfolded behind the abyss, a luminous way shimmering with potential. Each step she imagined exuded promise. This path, she breathed, awe filling her. "It's my choice to make." But just as she thought she could lose herself in this new journey, the shadows lashed out one final time, clawing at her resolve. "You think you can escape me? You are merely a flickering flame destined to be snuffed out." A sudden wave of panic surged through her, threatening to drown the light. Amelia spun around, her breath quickening as she faced the looming darkness. What if releasing you means loss? The truth hung heavy in the air, daunting yet electrifying. "Ah. So the truth is revealed." The shadow breathed, its tone victorious. "Everything you fear, everything you love is wrapped together. You can't cast me away without losing part of yourself." Amelia's heart raced. A truth intertwined with treachery whispered back. What if embracing her true self meant allowing the past to reshape her instead of rejecting it? What if her power lay in connection, not isolation? As doubt and desire waged war in her heart, she felt the boundaries blur. But she faltered, voices inside demanding she choose. What if breaking free means reclaiming all of me? The abyss churned wildly, drawing closer with each new revelation. As Amelia stood on the cusp of transformation, a shadow of doubt flicked through her mind. Could she truly embrace the depth of her being without succumbing to the chaos? A new darkness emerged, flickering at the edges of her consciousness, whispering secrets of her potential. The greatest choice of her life awaited, promising both peril and possibility. Would she dare take that step into the unknown? The choice lingered before her, teetering precariously on the edge of light and dark. And in that moment, Amelia realized, she held the key to her fate, but would she take the plunge? Amelia stood at the precipice, the swirling abyss stirring with memories clawing at her ankles. Everything she had fought against, every ounce of doubt, surged forth from the darkness, echoing in a chorus of chaos. Yet within that tempest, she sensed the flicker of hope and strength igniting in her core. "I've traveled far enough," she shouted, her voice steady and fierce. "I refuse to be shackled to my fears." The shadows lunged, flickering with rage at her defiance, desperate to reclaim their hold. But she would not be silenced. "You are a part of my past, yes, but I will not let you dictate my future." As she spoke, the light within her intensified, radiating warmth and determination. "I embrace those moments." She exhaled, each word fueled by a growing power. "The laughter, the pain, the lessons, everything has shaped me." The ground trembled as she pushed forward, the incandescent glow enveloping her like an armor. "But I am more than just a reflection of my past. I choose to step into my own light." And with that declaration, the dark figure shrieked, contorting and twisting in fury. "You think you can erase me? I am your weaknesses embodied. Your regrets, your failures. No." Amelia roared, feeling the warmth surge from her heart to her fingertips, a wave of brilliance exploding forth. "You are the echoes of my history. But you do not define who I will become." The shadows paused, momentarily stunned by the force of her conviction. "I will not back down. I will not be bound by you any longer." Each word struck the shadows like a hammer, crackling through the air, causing them to quiver. As the tumultuous darkness wavered, Amelia stepped toward it, her own presence brightening the void. "I know that healing means facing you, but it doesn't mean losing myself." Her heart raced with courage, and in that moment, she felt the light merge with her very essence. The dark apparition recoiled, shadows flickering like a dying flame. "You can't be free," it roared. "With every light, there must be darkness." Amelia shook her head, breathing deeply. "Light and dark are parts of a whole. I've learned that both define my strength." She took another step closer, feeling the warmth invigorate her. "I am no longer afraid. I am ready to own every piece of my life." As she uttered the words, the vast abyss rippled like water, shimmering with color. Memories darted around her, illuminating the darkness with radiant possibilities. The warm glow of laughter from friends gleamed in the distance, the confident smile of her younger self flickered like a beacon. "Am I truly ready?" she pondered, hesitating for just a moment. But as the shadows churned, Amelia felt the assurance within her. "Yes. Yes, I am." The thought transformed into a shout bursting from her soul, creating fissures in the darkness. With her heart pounding like a drum, Amelia reached into the light, feeling it swell like a roaring sea within her. "I embrace all that I am, every flaw, every scar. I am not merely this pain. I am whole." The shadows writhed, retreating before the brilliance of her resolve. "No. You cannot banish me that easily." They screeched, but it was too late. The shadows dissipated, unraveling like old threads of dark fabric, unraveling at the seams. And then, silence hung heavy in the air. The vibrant glow around Amelia softened, cocooning her in warmth and understanding. She felt lighter, freed from the tension that once bound her like chains. As the last tendrils of darkness faded into ethereal mist, Amelia took a step back. The pit of despair no longer threatened her. Instead, it transformed into a vast canvas of vibrant colors, greens, yellows, and the deep blue of possibility stretched out before her, a path waiting to be discovered. Amelia lifted her gaze to the horizon, realizing the journey had just begun. No longer was she a prisoner of her fears, but an architect of her future. And as she took her first step forward, a flood of understanding washed over her. She had the power to reshape her story. With each stride, she felt lighter, more liberated. The echoes of her past lingered like shadows at twilight, but they no longer held dominion over her. Instead, they became guiding stars illuminating her journey ahead, reminding her of the strength born from struggle. Not afraid, she whispered, a smile breaking across her face. I'll carry you with me, but you won't define me. Amelia walked toward the light, embraced by the knowledge that she had unlocked a divine peace within, one that resided deep in her heart, a testament to her resilience and courage. And in that sacred moment, she finally understood, the journey to peace didn't lie in denying the storm, but in facing it with unwavering strength. With a heart ablaze, she ventured into her new beginning, a radiant spirit ready to embrace every twist and turn along the way. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories just around the corner. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. I can't wait to hear what you think. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference, and I value every one of you in this amazing community.